Depression is not an excuse for laziness, is what I told my girlfriend, and you know what? I mean it. I, 29, have always supported my girlfriend who's 23. We've been together for 4 years now and lived together for 1. She's always had anxiety as well as depression, where some months are worse than others. I've supported her through all this and understand it's very hard for her. In January, she lost her job due to the current world circumstances. By March, she hit a low point, with not eating as much, crying, irritability, typical traits of depression. I've comforted her as much as possible and taken care of everything. However, at the beginning of June, I was allowed back to work. And since the house has fallen to shambles, I'm too tired by the time I come home to do anything, even cook. Most nights we order takeout, and on rare occasions she makes food. The floors, they're disgusting and aren't being washed. No vacuuming's happening in the house. Laundry is a mountain. And dishes, well, they're everywhere. I try to keep on top of it, but with work, it's almost impossible. She's home all day. She lies in bed till late afternoon and watches Netflix. Eats a bowl of cereal and naps. That's about it. I've tried to gently coax her to do more, and she says that she'll get to do it but never does. I finally snapped and told her I was sick of her doing nothing all day and leaving the housework to me. That if she is here and I'm working, she needs to be pulling her weight. She got upset and said that she wants to, but she can never find the motivation. That she's tired all the time. I said I understand she was depressed, but it isn't an excuse to do nothing and just be lazy. No one likes housework, but I won't take any more excuses about it. She needs to start doing it or simply leave. Next day, I come home to a clean house and a note from her saying she's sorry, and it's going to stay with her mother. Her mom helped her clean before they left, by the way. I tried calling, but she just wouldn't pick up. When I rang the house, her mother answered and had a lot to say. She was furious, telling me about how she's struggling and I'm making her a lot worse. That I should be supporting her, not ignoring her, and that she's simply in a bad spot, and so on. I was told my girlfriend had been crying all day in her bedroom, and I feel awful. I never wanted to hurt her, I just snapped. I tried to get her mother to give my girlfriend the phone, but she would not speak to me. It feels like a loss, just a lose-lose situation, really. On one hand, I know depression results in a lack of motivation and cleanliness. And on the other, I can't stand to see our home in such chaos. I've never had depression, so I can't say for sure how bad it truly is. That's why I find it more difficult to be 100% empathetic. Am I the a-hole for telling her depression is not an excuse? What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. There is an update for this story, so let's go ahead and jump into that now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, just take a second and smash that subscribe button. Let's get right into it. Ultimately, I realized that the majority of the blame was mine. I never ever should have called her lazy because that isn't what she is. I lashed out and I shouldn't have. She stayed at her mother's for a few days, and we eventually met up to talk. I told her how it just got to be too much for me, but it was no excuse for the lashing out, and I did apologize. She apologized also, not that she needed to, and we talked for a long while about how we can make our relationship work. I expressed my concerns over her therapist, who is very against anything other than talking therapy. She agreed that he did not seem to really have her best interest at heart, and she's currently looking for someone new. For now, I suggested she stops looking for work. She got a lot of rejections, and I could see it was upsetting her even more. I just felt that we should take a step back from that, and I want her to focus a little bit more on herself. She was unsure, as she felt bad that I would be working for the both of us, but I assured her it's fine. I do make enough to support us, quite comfortably in fact, suggesting maybe she could volunteer at some point just to get her out of the house and up and about, to do more stuff on her resume at least. I'm no therapist, so these were just suggestions, but it has seemed to have taken some of the pressure off her shoulder, which is all I needed. We agreed that being in the apartment all day alone and in bed is just not good for her. So we came up with the plan that she can do an exercise video 3 times a week. It's only about 10 minutes each one. just so she is doing something. She's found she likes doing them, and they make her feel a bit better about herself, and has started something called yin yoga. Yeah. And guys, to help me, she does one chore a day, too. I don't care what it is, I let her pick. It could be dishes, or it could just be putting the laundry in the hamper. This rule has at least gotten her out of bed for part of the day. And she's found out that once she starts, sometimes just end up doing more than one thing. I make sure to show my appreciation for whatever she has done, no matter how small it is. We've set out every Sunday, and we have a deep cleaning day where we get everything done. And this has been surprisingly successful. We make it fun and just mess around while she's still getting things done. It makes the week a lot more manageable when we only have light chores to keep atop of. Guys, she's trying more and more each day, and I'm also working on being more supportive about her depression. I'm researching it more and learning ways I can help her because it's a part of her. We're both putting more effort and communicating a lot better. I love that we keep making progress because I do love her very much and I want us to work. Let's read a couple comments on this one. The first comment says that this seems like a great example of a couple coming together to talk about their issues. Not only that, says comment 2, but they gave each other space and waited for cooler heads to prevail so they could talk honestly and without tempers flaring. They get an A+++. They're going to make it. I can tell. Guys, I would like to know your opinions on that. Do you think they are going to make it? Drop your comments down below, and let's turn our attention to the final story of the day, which also comes complete with an update. Am I the a-hole for telling my aunt she's not allowed to see my newborn? Ever. For my entire pregnancy, 20 female, my aunt A, who's 43 female, would make snide comments towards me and my fiancé, 22 male, about how we aren't, quote, fit to be parents with our outrageous lifestyle. We live in a camper on my mom and stepdad's property. That is our temporary home, and it's fully furnished with a working kitchen and bathroom. We're also a little bit on the hippie side of life. She would say she was surprised that my fiancé managed to get me pregnant, since he isn't, quote, very much of a man. Yeah, we share clothes. She would also make fun of my weight gain, saying she could barely see my belly with all that fat. And, quote, eating for two isn't meant to be taken seriously. Ugh. I tried to be kind to her in the beginning months of pregnancy because she had suffered through 2 miscarriages before I got pregnant. My fiancé has never been open about her being hurtful towards me and would not let me write it off as her being upset over losing her babies, and I needed to set clear boundaries. So, I did. And I told her she could not see the baby without my permission. My aunt also has a history of breaking boundaries and calling CPS on family members because they don't have the same ideals that she does. Well, I just had a baby a month ago and finally felt well enough to visit family. I have a rough relationship to my bio-dad side of the family, and I'm truly only close with my grandparents and siblings. So, this past Sunday, I decided I was going to take my baby to my grandparents' house so they could meet their great-grandbaby. I'd informed my grandma that I didn't want to see Aunt A, and she obliged, only telling a few closer relatives that I was bringing the baby over. Aunt C and her children, in an attempt to keep it a secret from Aunt A, we had a great time and took many pictures with the family and baby. Here's where things start to get sour. My grandma posted a picture on Facebook of her holding a baby, and she had full permission, by the way. And my Aunt A had seen it despite not using Facebook for some odd years, and within the hour had showed up at grandmother's house wanting to see the baby, or rather, demanding. I told her that she could leave, and just because she was family, she doesn't have the right to see my baby, since she's been so disrespectful towards me and my fiancé. My cousin and my fiancé immediately put themselves between her and I, tried to talk us down a bit and keep her from raging. I could remove myself and baby from the room safely. My fiancé managed to get my Aunt A and her children out of the house so we could leave. I then got a text from one of my older cousins who was on my side during the fight saying that I should have just let Aunt A see the baby. So the afternoon did not get ruined. Guys, I need your help. Am I the a-hole? Alright guys, drop your opinions down below. Mr. Edito here. There's an update for this story. It came out approximately 6 months after the original post. I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Let's jump into it. It's been around 6 months since the incident, and I wish I had a happier update. My aunt's still not taken the hint that I don't want her to be around my child or my fiancé at all. I respect my grandparents' choice to allow her over to their house for holidays and still attend the get-together despite knowing she'll be there. I still think I'm being a little ridiculous until she goes and tries to grab my baby out of the high chair on the car seat. Of course without permission, and it drives me insane. This whole situation has driven a wedge in my family. Half of them believe I'm just being selfish for not allowing her to even touch the baby. Then the other half have constantly had problems with her and completely agree with me. She has suffered another miscarriage in the last 6 months, and I'm very sorry this is happening to her. But I can't put my baby in contact with her anymore. So I've decided to keep my distance at holidays and get-togethers. We attend Christmas at my grandma's until she showed up with her kids in tow, just to get a hold of my baby any way possible. I invite her over today at my grandma's to speak with her, of course, without the baby. Guys, it went horrible. When she comes in, she sees my fiancé and I, then immediately notice that we don't have the baby. She flips her lid, yelling at us like we're children because we, quote, tricked her into coming there only to not bring the baby. My fiancé starts the conversation only to be yelled at and called many names by my aunt. She literally runs away crying into the kitchen, grabbing a napkin like we had done something horrible to her. I followed her and lectured her through her sobbing, telling her that her behavior simply at the moment was the exact reason she was not allowed to be around the baby. And if she was going to be continued to belittle us on our daily lifestyle and parenting, she would never, and I mean never, see that baby again. It felt silly to be lecturing someone 2 decades my senior while she cried like a little kid. We left without saying much more to anything else, and I held my tears in until we reached the car, and I busted out crying, sobbing the rest of the way home in the comforts of my fiancé's shoulder. That was hours ago at this point, and I still feel a little silly for how I'm acting, even though my aunt had shown how unstable she has today. But I don't want this to drive an even bigger wedge into my family. Don't feel sorry for protecting your child is how this commenter opens up his statement by saying this followed. That's what parents should do. Your aunt is the driving wedge between your family. It's unfortunate she can't have more children right now, but it's not an excuse for her extreme behavior. She's wrong and needs to be held accountable. If she learns to manage her behavior, reconsider in the future. But she's not allowed to disrespect you and then think she's entitled to your child's time. That's not even close to how that works. Guys, I do think that's some great advice. Let's go ahead and calm down the situation and see if she really is able to change. Let me know your thoughts, opinions on it, and how you would go about handling the situation. That's all the stories for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, subscribe to the channel because I'm here every single day. Have an amazing one. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.